Welcome back, my fellow adventurers. Ready to dive into the mysteries ahead? Let's dive into a big question that's on everyone's mind. When do you think the world will run out of fossil fuels? Just hold on a sec before we jump right in. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to smash that like button. And hey, subscribe and share it with your friends who are curious about our energy future. When you turn on your light switch, do you ever wonder where your electricity comes from? Your home heating system or air conditioner? Ever wonder what really fuels that thing? It's pretty wild, right? Chances are that if you live in an urban area or even a rural one, your life is powered by fossil fuels. Oil, coal, and natural gas are the primary sources of energy worldwide, but these resources won't last forever. Eventually, we'll run out of fossil fuels. So the question remains, when will that happen? Well, today, we'll examine how long the world has left for its supply of fossil fuels and what will happen once they run out. So stay tuned and let's get started. Did you know that right now, the world is guzzling down about 63 billion barrels of oil every single day? That's a whole lot. At this rate, the world will run out of oil in roughly 54 years. However, the world's oil reserves are constantly being replenished. There are around 1.7 trillion barrels of oil left on the planet. But unfortunately, the easiest oil deposits have already been found. That means that going forward, oil companies will have to drill in hard-to-reach locations, such as deep waters and the Arctic regions, which will make oil more expensive to extract. Furthermore, if oil consumption continues at current levels, the world will run out of oil in just 50 years. If we keep using more oil, we might run out way sooner than expected. Did you know that according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, we might run out of oil by 2045? Crazy, right? The EIA is saying that if we keep using natural gas at the same rate, we could run out in about 95 years. And coal? That's about 125 years away. But hey, that's only if we don't change how much we consume, right? But that assumes that consumption remains steady. However, if consumption rises along with population growth, the world will exhaust these resources much earlier. For example, BP's Statistical Review of World Energy predicts that the world will run out of oil in 2038, less than 20 years from now. Running out of fossil fuels would be disastrous since 80% of the world's energy comes from oil, coal, and natural gas. Most cars, trains, planes, and ships are fueled by petroleum in one way or another. It's pretty wild how much we rely on it. If the world suddenly ran out of fossil fuels tomorrow, global trade would grind to a halt almost immediately. You could still use your cell phone and other electronic devices that contain lithium-ion batteries, but you'd have to charge them with a generator that burns something else like wood. If you live in a rural area, you could use a backup generator powered by propane or natural gas. Once you burn through those limited supplies, you're really going to be out of luck. Even if you had a solar or wind turbine, you'd have to wait months for the parts to ship from China, assuming the factories could still produce them without oil for shipping. Running out of fossil fuels would totally crash our society as we know it. Energy companies are racing against time to find more oil deposits, but so far they haven't been very successful. Some folks are diving into deep waters, while others are eyeing the shaky Middle East. Still, others are venturing into the Arctic regions where temperatures can reach up to 40 degrees Celsius. You know, one area where energy companies seem to be dropping the ball is conservation. It's like they're not even trying, right? They're pouring millions into hunting for more oil instead of cleaner options. Crazy, right? And while it may seem like they should be working on finding ways to decrease the Earth's reliance on fossil fuels, there's a simple reason why they aren't. As long as people keep consuming energy at current levels, there will be a constant demand for oil, coal, and natural gas. In fact, in recent years, the shale revolution has allowed the United States to go from being a net importer of oil to a net exporter of crude. While some experts believe that the shale boom has helped reduce America's dependence on the Middle East, others argue that it hasn't changed anything. You know what people are saying? They think American oil companies just sell their stuff overseas. Even though we won't run out of fossil fuels anytime soon, the quality of the resources is decreasing. For example, tar sands are becoming more common. Unlike conventional oil, which comes out of the ground in a liquid state, tar sands need to be processed first before they can be turned into usable fuel. Because this process takes so much time and effort, it requires more energy and costs more money. If you think this is bad, the world's supply of high-quality coal is rapidly diminishing, leaving behind lower-quality brown coal. Not only does brown coal produce less energy, but it also produces more carbon dioxide when burned. Some scientists are saying that if we keep burning coal like this, we're in big trouble. The world will run out of high-quality coal by 2060. If that happens, we'll have to switch to lower-quality brown coal or start burning garbage. Running out of fossil fuels wouldn't just mess things up for us here on Earth. It'd shake things up everywhere, you know? It would affect outer space exploration as well. NASA's Artemis program aims to put astronauts on the moon by 2024. By the 2030s, they're actually planning to build a base on the moon. How cool is that? So, how are they planning to power the moon base? NASA's got it covered with nuclear power, which is pretty cool. However, no one knows what will happen if a solar flare destroys the moon base's solar panels or nuclear reactor. NASA's counting on a backup fuel supply just in case something goes wrong, you know? But what kind of fuel will it use? It will most likely use kerosene, which is a fossil fuel. The reality is that most of us don't pay much attention to where our energy comes from until the lights go out or the air conditioner stops blowing cold air. Some of us might consider getting solar panels installed, but they're expensive. And even if you have the money for solar panels, you might not have enough land to install them. Or maybe you're stuck in a city where putting up solar panels is a no-go. The fact is that most of us are reliant on fossil fuels, whether we realize it or not. Of course, the best solution would be to transition to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind. But even though renewables are becoming more efficient and cheaper, they're still nowhere near replacing fossil fuels. Take solar panels, for example. On average, they can generate about 100 to 200 watts of electricity, which is enough to power a laptop or smartphone. But most homes need much more than that. The average house uses 10,000 watt-hours of energy each month. You'd actually need around 50 solar panels just to power one home, can you believe it? That's a lot of space to dedicate to solar panels, especially if you live in a city. In the end, it's up to governments and energy companies to find a way to transition the world away from fossil fuels. They're the ones raking in the cash by selling energy, right? It's wild. But until a cheap and efficient way to store energy is found, we'll continue to rely on fossil fuels for many years to come. So the next time you turn on a light switch or hop in your car, take a moment to appreciate the fossil fuels that are powering your life. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll be living in a world powered by clean and renewable energy. So what do you think? Will the world run out of fossil fuels in your lifetime? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out our other content. You might just discover something even more exciting. Stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of the universe with us. And don't forget to like and share this video if you think it's important. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.